Welcome to the Blind Apex Podcast, where amateur club racers tune in to get faster.
I'm your host, Con John Turk, and this is the Blind Apex Podcast. If you like what you hear, review the podcast, share it with your friends. Today's episode, we'll be talking the basics of suspension setup, and joining me to talk about this subject is someone who has influenced me greatly in my driving career. She used to post things like weapons grade on Instagram and Facebook all the time. And that ended up turning my personal Instagram handle into garage grade because I never thought I'd be as fast as she was. She's probably the most helpful Honda Challenge racer I know. I'm pretty sure she missed a lot of work answering all my direct messages, trying to get my car to turn, both of them now. She is a driver coach, Northeast Regional Honda Challenge Director, and now world famous podcast guest on the Race FF podcast and Garage Heroes in Training. Welcome, Jackie Andrews. Thank you for coming on.
That was some intro. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, not a problem. You've literally answered every random question I've had to the point where I would post a post race and I'd be like, I burned the tires off my car at Summit Point, and I would just leave it, right? Because I'd be in that track hangover state of mind where I was a little hurt because I thought I had it and I wanted to do better, and all I did was burn down, $400 or $500 worth of tires in one shot. I needed to leave my car alone for a while, and it would be like Monday, 10 o'clock in the morning, and I'd check my phone, and there you are. What's this setup? What is this? Let's change it to this. You're a forward thinker, and you've been an ambassador to this sport and to Honda Challenge for a long time. I know I remember at least a decade ago. I don't know how long it is because you were towing your race car with a Crown Victoria, and I don't know how long that's been since you did that to Summit Point. But I was working in the tech shed, and I was like, these folks are crazy, and I like it. I happen to own a Honda. I was like, this is where I'm going. So you, Zephyr, all the early OG guys that were coming down from the Northeast, all the rowdy kids coming up from North Carolina, everybody banging around, Kevin Helms, all of them, you guys influenced me. And I'm just hoping we can continue it. You're still around. That's awesome. I appreciate it. I know other people do. And this platform, I'm hoping that it helps bring people around. I don't care whether they race Spec 3, which is a terrible class, or ST, which is also terrible. But, I mean, just get out there and do it. And just don't time trial, because I think that's a waste of time. So I'll get off my soapbox for the podcast, at least for now. I'm pretty sure down on my list we're going to get into it. So we'll see. Can you provide us a little bit of your background and, what brought you into motorsports and why do you have such a passion for it?
Okay, let me condense about 20 something years of driving into 4 sentences. I watched racing on TV like everybody else, and went to a local track day at a track that doesn't exist anymore that used to be by my house when I was like 12, 14, something like that. And saw like regular cars driving on track, which I didn't know was possible at the time. And that was it. From then on, I was ruined. I said it on a few other podcasts. I could take you to the exact spot where I was standing, still to this day. Watch the Camaro and a Mustang pass each other. I was like, oh, I'm going to do this somehow, some way. I started autocrossing because that was the easiest, cheapest thing to do when I got a license. And then I bought a Civic because it was cheap.
Yep.
$750 91 hatchback.
Now
Autocross that
worth $7,500.
probably, yeah. And then actually the guy that runs timing and scoring with NASA, we used to all autocross together. And he was like, "Oh, we're going to Lime Rock for this track day." I'm like, "Okay." I didn't think I was ready for that at that time. Did a track day in November, October, maybe. And our second event was VIR in February.
Yeah. VIR in February. I'm so glad they got rid of that event.
Yeah,
because
the whole first day was awful.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was pretty much ruined there.
I worked a couple of those Februaries. One of them I was working turn 10, so South Bend at the top of the S's by myself. It was raining horizontally, and it was probably 35, 40 degrees at best, and I was woefully unprepared. Yeah, I basically had to call for help up there just because I needed to like find a trash bag to put on me to help keep warm and all that stuff. Those February events are brutal.
Yeah.
And I don't know how you do October, November at Lime Rock either. Those are shouldn't it be cold up there by then?
Yeah, we just started running November events maybe 3 years ago. It used to be October, and October would be pretty cold. And thumbs up to global warming because now we can race in November. And it's cold, but it's not terrible. April is usually a little bit rough. Like we go to the Glen early in the year. That's bad. 2 years ago, I believe it was. For anyone that's been to Watkins Glen, once you get into town and then you drive up to the track, it's 1,400 feet from town to the track. And it wasn't doing anything in town, and it was a blizzard at the track. Like, oh, this is going to be a great weekend.
Get the snowballs out.
Yeah, basically. I was like, I'm not going out until the ice melts in the paddock. Thank you very much. But yeah, so that's pretty much my story. And then I just really got the racing bug and couldn't stop. Yeah, standing at some point, someone asked me why I wasn't racing, and I said I didn't have a cage just to get a bolt in. I was like, okay. Found a cheap cage and put it in my third at that point, 91 hatchback. And yeah, I've been racing Honda Challenge ever since.
We like to call it race car broke. Our bank account is always in flux. And we're always looking, if we got some, we're going to burn it. So
absolutely.
Race car poor for a long time, huh?
Yeah.
Where did your passion for suspension come from?
That was always a thing for me. I just knew that was where the speed was. And then just reading and learning, and as the internet got better, I could get more information, like talking to people from all over the place and just getting more knowledge about it. But I always knew that was the secret to like going fast once you figured out your driving and whatnot. And like I remember I bought a set of two-way dampers because I wanted to learn them, not necessarily to go faster, but I knew I would when I was like, I want to learn how these work. I have an idea, but I need to get them and like turn knobs and figure it out. And it did. And it went quick. And it was cool to have an idea and then do it, like put it into practice, and it would work. And I go, oh, okay. And it just really snowballed into the craziness that is suspension in my head.
So for perspective, was that always H2? Because I don't think I remember you running anything but H2.
Yeah, I only ran H2. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, until this last H1 debacle, but whatever. We can talk about that later.
Whatever. You're not even. I don't even see those kill me K swap posts anymore, so you're good. I don't want to.
No, it runs. Knock wood.
Yeah. So folks need to realize that 10-ish years ago, maybe a little longer, two-way adjustable shocks in H2 was kind of the hot business. Now it's basically the standard in H2.
That's correct.
Yeah. So that you evolved your knowledge with the class, and you've always sort of been the go-to. Everybody said, "Oh, ask Jackie." That's what they would tell me. Like, I can't get this thing to do X. Well, ask Jackie. Okay. It's always been that way. I mean, I had a CRX, I had the RS Integra, I had the EM1, now I have the FG2. I'm going through cars and I might catch you one day, but I hopefully not, because my bank account really hurts after this last build. But I know when I got out of college in, say, 2002, the hot setup was always big bar, super stiff springs in the back, and something up front. Didn't even talk about what was up front. That was the standard. Yeah, that was the standard forever. Now, we're going to get into this a little bit, because that's essentially what I'm running right now on my FG2. But I'm going to try to intro this in. So, and it might be hard because I'm all over the place, especially with suspension, but I'll try to keep it consolidated. You as a driving coach, do you just talk to them about their driving technique, or do you also work on setup with people?
I'll do everything. It depends on what they want to work on, but I like to know what the setup is. If they're struggling in a corner, let's say, or brake zone, and the car's doing something funky, I kind of want to know what the setup is. But if we're working on driving, we're working on driving. If you want to work on setup also or separately, we can do that. A lot of my clients really just want driver stuff. A couple people do want some setup help, or they don't think they need it, and then I find a giant problem with their setup, and they're like, "Oh,
right, yeah,
it's fine. That's what you pay me for. I'm not going to charge extra." But yeah, a lot of the times it's mostly driver.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm surprised, because I watch your videos religiously. Even if I'm like, oh, I'm going to go to New Jersey. Okay, I want to go see how Jackie drives it. Now, I don't know how you move your hands that fast. I don't know how the car doesn't go flying off into the wilderness. But it's always a good perspective to see somebody I know that's faster than me get in there and watch the video. So at least I know I need to go in at least this fast. Well, not. So let me reel it back 10%, and then I'll work my way up a little. But as far as your coaching goes, do you have any dates free between now and national championships in September?
I do. I'm actually not very booked, which I'm surprised with, or surprised about, I would say. Yeah, I'm pretty free still.
So for the 100-ish people that download this episode an episode every week, how can they reach out to you for that? Because that's going to be key if you're a competitive person looking to be at pit race in September and duke it out with everybody.
Yeah. Instagram or email. Email is Lowbuck Motorsports, Gmail. Instagram is LO_BUK_motorsports. You can DM me there. Either one works. Most people probably follow me on Instagram, so that's probably a little easier. We could set something up.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's going to be pretty important. I know we'll talk about it later. That's part of the spice I want to get into is the contingent that could arrive, the competition that will absolutely be there no matter who shows up. Everybody's going to need to bring their A game. They're going to need to weapons grade their cars. They're going to need to weapons grade themselves.
Yep.
Yeah. I honestly can't wait, but yeah, it's a little exciting. I'm hoping I get to go. I'm trying to go. My wife even gave me permission because it's on her birthday weekend. So she said, if I'm going to race, I can go. Yeah. Yeah. And I met her. I was working in tech and she was working in registration and she knew all my plans. So she signed up. She's ride or die. I'm happy about it.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So let's get back to this wonky suspension that people used to run through the 80s and the 90s and into early 2000s. 1,000-pound rear springs, maybe more. Huge hollow bars. They'd probably weld them stiff if they let them. 800-pound front springs. I don't even know what that is in kilograms. Even though I drive a car with kilogram springs on it now, I can't do the math anymore. It's been a long day. But that is not what I deem and what some other people deem Jackie spec. And I don't know if you invented it, but you definitely prophesized it. You preached that gospel and it worked. And so I don't think we need to get into specifics on the numbers. If you want to, that's fine. If anybody finds my build post, they'll absolutely see my spring rates because I don't hide anything. But it's a pretty simple spring setup, heavy in the front, soft in the rear, big bar. I like to say the front spring is, say, if it's at 100%, the rear will be anywhere between 40 and 60% of the front. Is sort of the game, right? I say that because one of the reasons I'm doing this podcast and I really wanted you to be on is because I don't know how you deal with it, because once I started this podcast, I've been getting, 4 or 5 people a day. And I ask them what their setup is, and they'll be like, oh, I'm on street tires. Oh, I'm on R-Comps. Oh, I'm on Hoosiers. And I'm like, all that stuff changes things. So I know you would have more information, but I need to get 2 philosophical questions out of the way before we talk. And the first one is, do you believe in motion ratios? And it's a little bit of an advanced term, so I'll explain it. It's essentially the leverage that your control arm creates in reference to the pickup points of your shock and therefore your coilover. In theory, you can do math and it will give you your spring rate. Do you believe in the motion ratio?
Yes. There's more to it than just the motion ratio.
Okay. So yes, you believe in the motion ratio, but there is more than just the motion ratio. Mm-hmm. So I may get your philosophy lined out in these 2 questions. We may have to talk about it if I don't. So my next question is, is a sway bar part of the cumulative spring rate of that half of the car? Or is it a tuning aid for rotation, or is it both?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. So you're a little more open than I thought you were going to be. That's okay. So let's talk spring rates versus I'm already off script. Spring rates versus sway bars.
Oh, okay.
Because I believe that, especially for the HPD kids who are on softer setups, that they can run softer setups and big bars and get away with it. So they can be more street compliant because their springs are softer, but with bigger bars, it'll help them on track. How do you feel about that?
Yeah, should work. The only issue with that is there isn't a good, well, it depends on the chassis. If we're talking specifically of like a golden era car, there isn't a good large front sway bar. There's only one.
I think Ibach made the biggest one, I think.
And I don't even know if you can find it anymore. I tried a ST. I think it's an ST bar. It's big.
Oh, okay.
20 something big, like 26 or 28. I don't have the notes up here. Yeah, I've had that thought also, and I've tried it on other people's cars, basically to prop the nose up with a big bar because they didn't have enough front spring and they didn't have enough damper to run more front spring.
Right.
It's not the same. It did help. I'm fearing like a DE or non-competitive kind of thing. You're just driving. It'll work. The dynamics will be good. The car will drive pretty good. But I think if you're racing the car and you're trying to go, all out in a front wheel drive car, it's not going to work.
Right. So a little regression here. You coach people not just in front wheel drive golden era cars, right?
Correct. Everything.
Okay. And I believe you have the suspension knowledge to assist them, even if they're wonky driving all wheel drive weird cars or rear wheel drive cars also. And I wanted to get into the
triples on an S2000 in 2 weekends.
Okay.
So, yeah.
The triples. Well, I don't even want to go down there. I don't even turn the knobs I have. So
why not?
Okay. Well, mostly because I have a set of first gen red shifts that Chris dialed in on his 8th gen, and he told me just set it here to start. And I'm pretty sure there's so much driver left in the car that I don't have to worry about my shocks right now. The car feels sort of good enough. So okay. I'm hoping I prove myself correct in the first couple of events, and then I'll worry about my suspension.
Okay.
So in a race situation, say front wheel drive, because that's just what we know, and I think that's what most people are listening to or listening for. Are you running a front bar or no front bar on a golden era Honda?
Yes.
You are.
Let's elaborate. So I've run no front bar. I've run a giant front bar. I've run a medium front bar. It depends on the track as to what you do with a front sway bar. Shall I elaborate?
Yes, please.
Okay, so
I'm intrigued.
On a track that has more sweepers, let's say, you can get away with running more front bar. The tighter stuff, you want less of a front bar because the car you're going to want more grip at the exit. You're going to want the car to come off the exit. Let's say like coming off of Oak Tree. VIR. That's a pretty slow corner. You want to maximize that exit because that straightaway is long. And just to exaggerate it, to make it make sense, if you've got a giant 30-millimeter bar in the front, it's going to want to unload the inside, and you're not going to be able to put power down coming out of the corner. I don't care what diff you have. If you have too much front bar, it's still going to push. At corner exit, on throttle. So you need some compliance in the front end so that it's still going to want to come off the corner. So that's when you start pulling bar out of it. So, like the Glen is a bunch of sweepers. I can run more front bar there. New Jersey, like Thunderbolt, has a couple of slow corners. So there I would run less bar.
Okay.
In my H2 days, I never ran a front bar on the EG. It just worked good. I think I tested some front bar on that car with that setup in that time period, and I just didn't like it, so I took it off. Now in H1 trim, the car makes more grip everywhere. I play with the front bar. Some days I want to put the giant one on, I put it on, and no, it still sucks. I take it off again, but not a lot of front bar, just a little bit.
Yeah. So my car, I added a front bar and it felt better.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like it might be costing me at VIR, where I probably should just unbolt it for VIR and leave it on for Summit Point and just bring it with me to pit race and see. I may have to test it. But it's interesting.
Can you just undo an end link on your car, or is it in the way?
Oh no. The great thing about the 8th gen, it's 6 bolts, and the whole thing comes out of the car.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it's not over the subframe, it's under the subframe.
Got it. Okay.
It's magic. It's magic. And some of us designed our cage. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, that's what I have going for me. the front sway bar connection. Yeah. So I get in debates with Darren,
Mm-hmm.
because he feels that I need to set up my 8th gen similarly to setting up my EM1, even though my motion ratios dictate gigantic big rear spring and softer front.
Okay, so have you gone past the motion ratio to the rest of the equation to figure out spring rate?
Define the rest of the equation.
So what is the motion ratio telling you? That's part of the equation, but so to figure out a spring rate by math, you need to be targeting something, and by the equation that you would use, you'd be targeting a frequency. And I learned this after the fact of figuring out what springs to use, and I can get into how I learned that because I did not figure it out. Somebody told me. But yeah, so you're targeting a frequency in hertz, and usually for a production-based car, somewhere between 2.5 and 3. So that's
okay. I read
kind
that
of like your X. Yeah, so that's what your X that you're kind of solving for, and then you work backwards from there. I'd have to dig up the formula. I haven't played with it in a little while. But that's kind of like where you would come up with your base brain and then go from there.
Okay.
So, I mean, if that tells you it needs a lot of rear spring, then put a lot of rear spring in it. That car is divorced rear spring?
Yes.
And you still have it divorced?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes, it is still divorced.
Okay.
And it has wonky size springs. It's such a pain. Uh,
Yeah. Yeah, that would probably want a lot of rear spring. I could see that.
I got a lot of. I'm running like 20K in the rear, something like that. 20K, I think. I don't know what that is in pounds. It's 1,100, 1,000, something like that. And then I got the 095 hollow bar in the back. And it doesn't melt the front tires down, but it doesn't rotate off throttle either. Like I can't breathe off the throttle and get it to pitch. It's wherever I pointed it at the beginning, that's where I'm stuck. So that's why a lot of people are like, oh, do we count the spring rates? Do we count the bar with the spring rate? Because mathematically, my bar would be another 360, I believe, is what I did, pounds of spring rate. Darren always says the 1,100-ish pounds is too stiff for you to actually get the bar to bind, so it's not even working. I think it's sort of working. So that's sort of my dilemma, is he wants me to go softer to get it on the bar. And then if I go softer to get on the bar, I feel like I need to go buy one of the solid 1-inch bars to put back there because it's just not enough.
Jeez. Okay. Well, God, Darren's going to call me after this and yell at me. I mean,
It'll be all
is
right.
there rear compression travel in the car, or is it locked up solid?
It's not locked up solid, but I will tell you, it has 0 droop. Thank you, McStrut. It has, I don't know, 2.25 inches of up travel if I remove the spring. So it can go up. It just doesn't go up because of the car. The other, and we'll get to it, but the other problem with my car is the front rear ratio of weight is absurdly off. But I'm afraid to put more weight back there because it's already pushing the front around. I think I'm at like 66% front or higher. There's nothing in the back. It's almost like a drag car. I could probably go back there and pick it up from the back end of the car.
You need some testing.
Well,
I would try.
I just need to. All I need is. Well, I removed the weight from the back because I was overweight by 150 pounds plus. Mm-hmm. So I removed it, and I removed my 75-pound battery from the back, and it actually felt fine when I was testing with the lightweight battery.
Okay.
But all of that goes into figuring out some sort of spring rate and bar combination for folks. And the way I've always thought of it is the more bar you have on the rear, the less traction you're going to have, and vice versa. That's the simplistic view. I know that the bar on the front will help keep under load on turn in, will help keep the rear inside corner down-ish. That's a lot of the reason why Golden Era cars don't run a front bar, but they run 1,000-pound front springs or more. I've heard more, I've heard less, but higher front springs.
Yes.
All to try to keep, even doglegging is bad. This goes for the Porsche and BMW guys who lift up the front, and the front wheel drive guys who lift up the rear. When it's not touching, you have 3 tires doing 100% of the work in their percentages. When you have 4 tires touching, even if it's 1%, it's 1% less on the rest. I understand that part.
There's
just
another
can't always get it to work.
Yeah, there's something else that happens when you lift the axle that people don't realize. Same like you said, it doesn't matter the platform, but once that tire, that inside tire, comes off the ground, that axle stops functioning in compression. So then it just rolls. So if you're like taking tire temps, let's say you've got a golden era car in 2000, 600-pound spring in the front, 1100s in the back, and you're taking tire temps, in the rear just wants more camber according to the gauge. And it's got 4 degrees and you don't know why. It's because when you get into the corner, the rear on one of these cars, it's not compressing once that tire comes off the ground. Just rolls. And that's what makes them ultra terrible to drive, because now it's not compliant. It's just rolling around on the edge of the tire everywhere.
Right. So you brought up a good point. Do you work on your suspension setup before you try to fully dial in your alignment?
Can
you do it all at once?
Yes. I'm trying to really wrap my mind around your question. Yeah, so like I guess with a car like yours that's new to you, or anyone who's building something new where they're not really familiar with what works, your suspension setup is going to be the best damper you can afford with as much travel as you can get. Figure out the spring rate and go. Drive it as hard as it will let you. That'll tell you what it wants for an alignment. You're going to have to drive it at least once. And then if you have to go back to the drawing board, go back to the drawing board.
Right.
Like my car, because I know it, I have a rough idea of what to do. The H1 setup is quite different. It's not drastically different, but it is different. So, and the new damper is a little bit different. Blah, blah, blah.
Don't break my heart, because I was hoping to get my car an H2 trim where I want it. I honestly, if it was predictable, it is predictable. It predictably plows. If I could get it to rotate just as much as I want it to, and take my tire temps and have them as even as a McPherson strut could be, then I would go build this K24A2 and wait for everybody to go to H1. But now you're telling me I have to redo it all or tweak a lot. So I don't really like that. But
no, it would be small tweaks. I made a lot of changes. I don't know. My H1 setup was a nightmare until it got to where it is now, but that's a whole other story. It's just small changes now. Because the car is like 5 miles an hour faster everywhere. Like at the Glen, it's 5 miles an hour faster in the corners. So it took, I think, a little more front spring. Bar setup ended up being a little different, but I put roll center on, which changed a whole bunch of stuff. The car's so low that the front camber curve is more aggressive than it used to be. So it's small stuff. The basic kind of setup is still there. It's still a real soft rear spring and everything else.
So you think that the roll center correction, those types of things made a big enough change that you had to tweak the base setup in a class that didn't have roll center correction?
It was a part of the equation. It wasn't a huge difference, but I also did it with so many other things that it's hard to tell. But I was able to run the car so much lower that I had to then change a few other things to make that work. If that makes sense.
Okay. No, it makes sense to me. Earlier, you alluded to your philosophy on shocks, and I was going to ask you that question, but you said buy the best dampers you can afford.
Yeah.
So the problem is there's rules, and the rules will dictate whether you get a penalty for remote reservoirs or not. All right.
Yes.
So since you said buy the best damper you can afford, would you buy dampers minimum double adjustable? We already, even the the ridiculous Sunday Cup kids and driving around Honda Fits at 25-1 ratio and all that stuff are on double adjustables and stuff like that. So you're long gone are the days of one knob on your Kona yellow. Like throw that shock in the trash, sell it to some racer kid. He's going to make you drive to his job 4 hours away and he's going to pay you $50 for your shocks, but whatever. Find the double adjustables of your dreams that you can afford. But do remote reservoirs actually help a sprint racer?
Yes.
Have you tested you've tested a set that without doubles? Do we know that?
So here's why, and it's not from what everyone thinks. And it's really in just the packaging. So I don't want to give away too much. I don't really care. A lot of people think the remote reservoir is beneficial because of the cooling. Oh, you have extra fluid and this and that, and you don't need that cooling because it's only a sprint race and whatnot, which is true to an extent. On the S2000, we've gotten the dampers to get hot to the point where you would notice it when we were on a single non-remote on that car. Obviously not mine because I can't fit in an S2000, but a car that I turn knobs on. But
it's a huge Miata. You should be able to fit.
There's a lot of
drop in it.
sitting in an S2000. It's hysterical. I actually sat in one when they were new at the dealer, and I got stuck in the car, and the top was down, but the window was up, and I couldn't get out of it.
Oh, well, I don't fit an S2000 either, but it's not the height problem. It's the narrow problem. I'm not narrow, so.
Yeah. But yeah, getting back to your remote reservoir question, it's in the packaging. So in a remote, all of your compression adjuster is on the canister. That's first, right? So now you're not fiddling around under the shock trying to make a bump adjustment. And now you just physically have more room because all of that energy that's in the damper body itself, when it's on the compression side, has to go somewhere. So if it's on if it's on a non-remote, all of that energy is still in the shock body. So it has to bypass and make its way around without getting too technical. Whereas if you have a remote, all that energy is now going into the canister. So if you look at like 7500 DA Penske and an 8000 series Penske with the same valving, the bump circuit will look different just on how everything works. So a non-remote is good, but you can do a little more if you know what you're doing with a remote. And then you can make them triples, which is always fun.
Yeah, no, I'm good.
No?
Like I said, I got two knobs I don't turn, so at least not yet. So we've talked a little spring rate, sway bar, how they correlate, how they relate to each other. We've talked about the shocks. You definitely need to buy shocks or have the shocks you have tuned to the spring rates you're running. That's like you could search that on Google. But do you also take into account your sway bar spring rates for your shock tuning?
I don't.
Okay. Well, as far as valving them and everything, do you think most of them are adjustable enough to work around that?
Yeah. I haven't run into an issue where a sway bar change was ever drastic enough to the way the car was performing that I needed to then make a damper adjustment. I'm sure it's possible, but I have not done it yet.
We'll see. I have one on order from ASR, and he told me he didn't want to sell it to me. And I said, I want to buy it, and here's my money.
Have you tried rear
okay,
toe
I'll sell it to you, but
on your car yet?
No, not yet. We're going to try that first, but I'm bound and determined to have the full sway bar set for this car anyway, just because.
What is your
I
rear
won't be on
toe,
red shifts forever.
by the way?
0. 0 on a car that you have to have custom sphericals made. So I don't have those yet either. I know. Okay. I will tell you that I'm a gigantic sissy when it comes to rear toe
Why?
because
It's not scary.
I'm old.
But it's not scary.
Yes, it is. I'm old. Yeah. Everybody said it loosens the car up real good, and I'm like,
no, it doesn't loosen the
I don't
car
want
up.
real good.
It raise the car up. There's a difference.
Okay, well, that's not the terminology they used, and I'm old. I'm almost 44 for people who want to count, and my hands are slow. I'm a methodical racer. Yeah. So Darren talked me into it. I finally admitted to him over text a couple nights ago. I was like, all right, it's time to go. I want to turn the toe all the way out. Because basically everyone I talk to that has 8th gen Civic that'll actually talk to me about the car, because there are very few, said toe out all the way. I said, okay, we'll do it. But yeah, we'll figure that part out. But that's part of the alignment, right? So I need to take into account that the inside edge of my rear tires are going to heat up a little bit extra because I'm running it. So when you pyro the tire, I don't know. When you run the back straight and the front straight at VIR, it's going to get hot. But
it'll be okay.
That's just me.
Yeah.
Oh, it doesn't matter.
Know...
I think I've decided I'm never changing the rears. I'll flip them. I'll do whatever. I'll leave them on for like 3 or 4 years, get them nice and seasoned so they rotate, and then I'll be good.
Oh boy. First of all, you're not old. Because you're as old as I am, apparently. And I'm not old. So let's just check that right now. I mean, another question I would have with trying to set your car up is, what does the rear do toe-wise in compression? Does it toe in? Does it toe out?
So this is the cute part of the car. Under compression, it deletes toe. But under braking, this is part where I think this is the basics of suspension, and I think we're getting a little slippery, but I don't care. We'll dive down this rabbit hole real quick. The motion of the toe rate as you compress everything, people need to learn to measure that stuff. They need to go to somebody who can measure it if they can't measure it themselves. Mm-hmm. When under braking, the nose of my car dives down because it has lower spring rates in the front. It automatically raises the rear. Now, I have zero droop in the rear. I mean, it's the worst looking rear end I've ever seen. I had ton of droop in the old car. It was impossible to pick up a tire in the old car, it felt like. But that was because I had custom shafts and custom double adjustable conies, and somebody else owns them now, and I hope he appreciates them because he'll never pick up a tire if he does it right. Anyway, when the rear goes up, the toe goes out. So I actually need to raise my car to get more toe out of it. Well, we're going to actually put it on the alignment rack, see how much I can get, and then I may need to raise my car up another 1/2 inch to get more toe out of it if we need more toe.
So it toes
the higher
out.
You go, the more toe out you get. In extension, yes.
Which means it toes in compression.
Yes.
Which is what it should do. Any production-based car should do that. Yeah, toe it out in the rear. That's going to fix most of your problems.
Hopefully. We'll see. I need to call Freddie and get a date for the alignment rack. Have Darren touch my car and bless it. Sacrifice some chickens and stuff and make sure it's good for the season, and we'll be good.
if for nothing else, and when this happens, you're going to text me and go, "You were right. How did you know?" It's going to save the front tire. It's going to save the front tires, and you're going to notice the different steering input and go, "I don't understand why."
Oh, that's going to be weird, but hopefully I can. I talked with Peter Krause about this because I have the Garmin, and my variability is like 0.3% is the highest variability I have for the last year in this car.
Wow.
And he goes, "Well, what is the difference between your lap time, your fastest lap time, and your optimal?" And so there's still like a second and a half at Summit and 2.1, I think, at VIR. And he goes, "Okay, so there's still time on the table. You just need to string it together." He goes, "If the lap times are the same, essentially so close they're the same, you need to change something in your driving style. Unless you want to be an endurance racer, and then you're just going to clip lap after lap after lap after lap the same way." All that being said, I went down the rabbit hole and I forgot. Anyway, we're going to make changes because I need to find that time. I need to string it together because these rascals that I race with, they're killers. They're killers just like the Northeast guys are, and they're not getting any slower. They don't settle. You know, they ran a 209 at VIR. Chad Slag was like, "They must all be cheating." Okay. Well, they're dynoing clean, they're weighing clean, and they're running same times as H1 cars. So everybody has to step up their game. So I'm working on that part. And that's, 2023, 2024, or probably the rest of my life, let's be honest, until the doctor says I'm not allowed to race anymore. A couple other things I wanted to touch on were, so you say you can work on your alignment and everything while you're working on your spring rates and stuff like that. Where do you put ride height? When do you start messing with ride height, and specifically corner balancing? Is that sort of one of the last things you do?
No.
Or is it also in the middle?
That's all going to be in your initial setup. So your ride height is dictated by your roll center. Okay. And to start, and then some people like a rake. I never really liked the rake. I played around with it. I didn't really like it. But like some of the other cars I work on have a rake in one direction, some may rake them the other way. What I found, a lot of it is driver preference. But anywho, that's going to be in your like initial kind of setup of the car, is kind of figure out where a happy ride height is going to be, roll center wise, travel and like bump travel wise. Is your tire going to work at this ride height, or is it going to rub? You're going to have to raise the car, stuff like that. And then corner balance. I mean, you should corner balance your car, right? Like that's what everybody says, right?
Yeah. Except for with my car,
sure,
to keep things sort of the right way because of the soft front springs, I don't think I can. I can't get a ratio that's front wheel drive approved.
Oh, it doesn't matter. No. I mean, what you're looking for is a good cross. So, like, we corner balanced my car at the beginning of last season. Spoiler alert, that was the first time the car was ever corner balanced since 2010. Anyway. And like the right front was some astronomical number. And my friend Nino that was doing it, he was like, that's pretty bad. I'm like, yeah, it's the K series now, so it's heavier on the whatever, just figure it out. And he got it. I mean, it's not going to be 50-50. It's not a BMW. But you can get the cross really good, and that's really what you're looking for. And you just don't want any weird anomalies because, in theory, it's going to make the car handle funny.
Yeah. It actually, so I'll let a little cat out of the bag. In my EM1, Chad's old car, we were able to get everything corner balanced and all the rake we wanted without anything major, and we could go from like 66% front all the way down to 54% front.
Okay. Yep.
So we could load the rear, make the rear super light. Some people told me it wasn't possible, and my buddy Jason and we were messing around with it, and I probably did the wrong track with it, with a heavy rear, because I did Summit Point and it was devastating. It was terrible. So we went back, and I mean, there's a happy medium. Every car is going to be a little different. Every driver is probably going to be a little different, but it wasn't running like a 55% front. 50-50 in a front wheel drive car is bad juju as far as I'm concerned. So
yes, it is.
You want to be like 60-40, tweak to your liking. I probably got it around 58 was where I liked it, I think. And before the frame rail decided to wobble all over the place, it was finally starting to turn. So
yeah, what I found in a front wheel drive car is, because they're generally awful from the get go, is just add rear weight until it goes slower, because it's going to pick up from the initial like 70% front or whatever awfulness it'll be. And if you just keep adding some rear to it, you'll notice it'll pick up and it'll pick up and it'll get better and it'll get better, and then it's going to not. When it doesn't, go back a little bit, and there you go. That's the number. Every car's different, so you kind of got to play around with it and find what your car likes.
Yeah. And really in the basics of suspension, you're working to harmonize all the things you've cobbled together.
Yep.
You're trying to harmonize those spring rates, your choice of sway bars, or your collection of sway bars, as ended up with me in the old car. What dampers you put underneath it. Not everybody has JRZs or Penske's. No, we don't. I mean, I don't have that kind of money. People say I have that kind of money. They don't look at my bank account. I don't have that kind of money. But I mean, it helped that this car came with my red shifts, and I was going to stick with them for a while. So anyway, you're trying to make it all work in harmony, and you need to understand the philosophies of what does spring rate do, what does the sway bar do, what does compression and rebound do. I'm still working on that part. And I don't want to hear about triples. I don't want to know.
5-way?
No. They make those? Are you kidding me? That exists?
Real quick story. I'm watching Bathurst 12-hour on the YouTube live feed that they had, and they were talking about the damper on one of the Mercedes like GT cars. And it's this KW, and I'm looking at the knobs and I'm going, that's a 5-way. And the guy that's talking about it goes, yeah, these are 3-way, And I'm like, oh, wow, it's only a 3-way? Okay, maybe I'm looking at the knobs wrong. I go on KW's website and I'm like, no, that's a $12,000 shock per corner. That is a 5-way. High speed and low speed compression, high speed and low speed rebound, and adjustable bump.
That's 4. Okay. All right. That's where the 5th is. The bump adjuster. Okay.
High speed.
Yeah.
High speed knob is fun.
Yeah. Pass. So hopefully folks got a little taste of what they need to take into consideration for their suspension tuning. Before we wrap this up, I do want to talk about nationals. mostly because you're world famous. You've been on multiple podcasts now. This is at least your third podcast platform anyway. I think Jaime's had you on it 2 or 3 times.
Yeah.
And I've heard a lot of predictions from you. And I'm driving at 4 a.m. trying to go to work, or in the afternoon fighting DC traffic. And I'm arguing with you, but you're not able to argue back with me. So I want to talk about this.
Let's argue.
Well, respectfully, let's have a conversation.
Sure.
We're shy on those these days. So you've been quoted at like 30 to 40 participants, right? That's what you believe.
That's the possibility if everybody showed up. I don't think everybody's going to show up. That's the high side. Yeah, exactly.
So I heard a rumor, and actually by the time this comes out, it won't be a rumor anymore, that California is looking to bring one car, H2 car, bring a hot boy driver and their Honda Challenge family to crew that car. So that's one. Okay. Now, the other things I've heard is Texas may not want to come all the way up to Pennsylvania.
Aww.
So they might come to Hyperfest.
Ooh.
Because they want to stick it to Mid-Atlantic. Further. From Texas? No way.
VIR versus
I drove all the way to Louisiana to get my car. It's so much faster than we're still 5 hours from Pitt, and I'm at Summit Point.
Oh wow, okay.
So
I guess
you're talking 4 hours. It saves them 9 hours ish, right? So that might be the rumor. I hope that's not the case. The other rumor on episode 2, I think it was episode 2, maybe 3, when Dylan was talking about the price of nationals and budgets, and he said $1,500. I don't believe that's the case anymore. How much has the Northeast price gone up for each of one of their events?
I don't know because I don't pay. But it's gone up. Yeah, I know it's gone up.
It's gone up.
Yeah, and talking to some other people, we're all really wondering what Champs is going to cost this year. I haven't gone in so long, I forgot that cost has grown since 2015 or whatever the last time I ran.
Yeah.
I mean, it could be like $2,000. It could be $2,000 when they open registration and then go up from there.
Right. And I believe that's I believe you. We talked earlier. You don't think that's a viable number for a healthy nationals?
Not for some of the lower classes. I think the Spec Miata guys will probably still show. Are
you saying Honda Challenge is a lower class?
I think the budgets in Honda Challenge, not everybody, but I do think some of the budgets in Honda Challenge, that's going to hurt.
No, okay. I'm going to derail a second because people need to understand that everybody has a budget. That budget isn't always the same number. My budget for the year could be 10,000. Your budget for the year could be 15,000. I don't know of anybody who was like, yeah, I think I'm going to write in a 20% increase in fees. So if nationals is over 20%, and this is the hard part, Laguna, Coda, those tracks were more expensive normally than Pitt would be, right?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
but I feel like they may be on the same level. That race may be on the same level or more expensive. And I think that will be a detriment to participation. I understand that NASA is a business and they got to make money, but they got to strike a balance. And I really hope it's an affordable balance, because we have the potential to have an absolute rock star, lights out Honda Challenge field.
Absolutely. And I wonder if the cost is the reason why they haven't come out with the price and the registration yet, because it should be, if not up by now. There should be some kind of mumbles of like, oh, we're going to open registration for nationals coming soon. And I haven't heard anything. So, that's just me really being hopeful. They're like, oh, they're really trying to work out a good price so people can go, but might not be the case.
So I know I set money aside to make sure I could sign up right away. I don't know if I set enough aside. So
Yeah.
what that's going to do, I believe the price is going to, people will decide whether they're going to go to Nats or whether they're going to compete for their regional. And I believe that if the price is pretty high, they may go to the regional. If it's reasonable, I think the regions will suffer, because there are going to be a bunch of folks who are going to do 3 races and sandbag until nationals. But if it's somewhere in the middle, we're going to get a really weird dichotomy where there may be regional, half the guys will be in regions, folks. Sorry.
Mm-hmm.
Half the folks will be trying to do regionals because they just can't swing it, and the other half will be running at Nats and doing 3 races. So it's going to be a really weird dichotomy. Now, I know my region has, well, at Daytona, they took the top 7, I think, after, what's his name from Texas? I think he got DQ'd or something, or moved to the back. I don't know why I forgot his name. I could say something really mean, and I'm not, because I'm not trying to be disrespectful, because he actually did. Scott Adams.
Scott Adams, yeah.
That guy. He did a really good job. He brought that new RSX out. He ran hard at Laguna. Like, I have respect for Scott Adams. They don't like to play in the meme wars like we do. They also don't have the count that we do. My philosophy is, and I believe it will play out this year, high car counts in your regions makes for great racing. Great racing makes great racers. The Northeast and the Mid-Atlantic are the 2 biggest Honda Challenge groups out there, I believe. And the showdown will be, I'm not taking anything away from Baker's win, because the logistics, he was on his own. There was a lot of stuff he had to overcome. He tried to give himself a concussion, but
yeah,
I think he'd even admit that he's trying to look at this nationals as the next one. Like, he wants it just as bad as he wanted his first one last year. Christopher Michaels, he had a light year last year. He wasn't going to go to Nats. So I think he's ready to come back and fight for it. We have our top 4 or 5 are pretty close all together. So if they're all active, that's 5 guys that are going to be hard to beat. I've looked at your guys' Race Hero results, and if Dylan can pick it up, I think you guys have like 5 or 6 that are going to be rough to beat. So me personally, my sole goal is to crack the top 10. If I crack the top 10, I might as well be on the podium. I will stand in front of them spraying champagne, right? Because our groups in every group is trying to grow. And I want to have, I don't know who to have on the show to talk about different ways to grow. I know I want Mike on the show from Mid-Atlantic. I might have you on the show. I need one more. I want to talk about how people can grow their class. I know it's Honda challenge centric. I'm sorry. That's what I race. But the Miata guys don't need to grow. They're pesky enough and there's plenty of them, right? I think they breed like rabbits. I don't know where they keep finding these Miatas, but they keep finding more. I don't understand. They've crashed a bunch of them. But more still pop up 10, 20 years later. Anyway.
I think if you crash one, you want two more. I think that's how that works.
Oh, I mean, I heard the cost of entry was so cheap for spec racing that the Miata guys, they buy 2 or 3 tubs or rollers or parts cars just in case. So they always have a tub laying around. It's whether they got enough fenders and hoods and doors to put on it to race it later on. But, Spec 3, Spec 46, American Iron, any class, anybody who's racing, they need to grow their class because I promise the bigger your class gets, the faster everyone will get. That's just my philosophy, and I won't be proven wrong on it. We've got guys for the first time last year. I saw them in my last race, so it was like the 5th event of the year. I would leave them on the first lap. I'm mid-pack, right? Well, 4 races later, the back of the pack, 3-4 laps in, is still there. You know what that means? I need to drive a little faster. And when I drive a little faster, the front guys, they got to drive even faster. So we all feed off each other and we all help each other is the other thing. And I think that's a big part of why we grew. But give me a spicy, bold prediction for nationals this year. Do you have a front runner in February?
No. I could give you a top 5. That'd probably be about it. And I don't have a front runner because I'm not sure about some Northeast people. I'm not sure if they're going to go.
Are you talking about Ronnie?
He's one.
Okay.
Because I know he's doing GLTC this year.
Yeah, Trader.
I heard some things, so I don't know. Yeah, there's a couple other people that are quick. I think it's going to be Northeast Mid-Atlantic mix in the top 5 for sure.
That's fair.
Because I like to piss off the Texas people too.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, it's really anybody's race. I was wrong with my last couple of predictions, so I'm not even going to throw out a specific. I think the K series
it's hard,
and I could be wrong, and somebody could have a real strong Type R and beat all the K series. So, who knows?
On that note, the K series swapped cars. They have a lot going for them, but the one thing they don't is where the engine sits in the engine bay relative to the axle line. It sits more forward. There's more weight forward on that car than there is when there's a B series in that car.
Yeah.
Now you can dial that out. We talk suspension. You can sort of massage that out. You can't necessarily get rid of it in raw pounds, but you can make it go away. You can smooth it out.
Mm-hmm.
And I also believe a limited prep K series car driven by the right people will be the car to beat.
Or
but that's don't make me want it. I almost regret not buying one of those cars to build, except for they were out of my budget. Yes, I had a budget when I built my car.
I don't particularly love the L15B, but the torque at pit race is important. Because if you're close and then you're coming up that last hill, whatever has torque is going to go. When I raced Shanfield there, I could cover him everywhere, and he could drive around me going up the hill with the Type R in my car. And that was with a restricted prep car, so he was way heavier than me. So
yeah,
that's the only reason why I would say a K series I think is going to do something is the torque, and especially a limited prep. Let's say K20, even a limited prep K24, the weight's not terrible. But you're picking up all that extra torque that you don't have in a B series.
Yeah, the limited prep 24 CRV motor, not the A2s, but the non-fancy VTEC K24s, I think are going to be tough. But we'll see. Yeah. We'll see. My prediction, really early, because I haven't talked to anybody. Well, that's not true. I haven't talked to them legitimately. Everybody's pumped and they want to do this. They want to do the big dance, right? This is like prom for the East Coast. Right? We're all going to get gussied up. Yeah, we're all going to get gussied up and play. I think Mike Young breaks out his broom again. I think
could be.
I think Mid-Atlantic takes 1, 2, 3. Spicy. I just lost all my listeners in New York. You know who you are. They're Philly. I know who's in Philly downloading all my stuff, so it's not that hard. But and then a 4 or 5 from Northeast. But obviously, all that's subject to change. I talked to Baker about what it takes to be at nationals, and it's a challenge.
It is.
We're all going to work together to stay competitive, but at some point, some of the people who are well prepared may drop out. They just may have to. You know, I don't necessarily think I'm going to be competitive. Baker, for whatever reason, keeps going on Jaime's podcast saying my name. And I think I don't know what he's smoking, but he should pass it this way.
Oh, boy.
I may be the only restricted prep car there. Maybe. So I'll be by myself.
Lucas comes with an S2000.
Yeah, but he doesn't share any parts with me. Where you guys... all the limited prep cars basically swap parts.
Yeah, that's true.
So that's a challenge, but that's a challenge that I need to prepare for, that each region needs to game plan for to put their best foot forward. And I think we will. And if NASA doesn't put in-car cameras in our minimum 20 car count field and put us on YouTube first, I don't care about Legends cars. I don't care about ST. Nobody cares about those cars.
So,
yes.
Good point. Very good point. Different people will be doing the media coverage at Champs this year.
So we know that much.
I know that for a fact. I've met them.
Okay.
So last year was NASA did it. This year, as long as everything's still going according to plan, it's an outside company, and that's specifically what they do. So the coverage should be a lot better.
Okay. Yeah, I hope so. And if not, I don't know. You were on Garage Heroes in training, that podcast. They are sponsored by the Sentinel system And I already have family outside the country that's always asking me, where can I watch the live stream? And I know regions don't do the live streams, and it's a lot of money. Although, according to Peter Krause, it's the cheaper version of the two. He sells the expensive version of the two or three that exist. But I almost want one because somebody has to show the light. Like last year was so disappointing watching. We were seeing like the front end of our group. Yeah. It was the worst coverage for me. And I couldn't do that 2 years in a row. And I think my family from around the world would revolt like over not seeing the race, especially if I'm there. So anyway, okay. You said you think you can give me a top 5. Can you give me a top 5?
I'll give you a top 5. So I'm going to say if Baker and Chris Michaels
in any random order.
Any random order. This is not where I think they're going to finish. Okay. Chris Michaels, Baker. Trying to think who else is fast up by you guys. I don't know. Okay.
Morgan, Brent.
Yeah. Is Brent going to go?
I don't know, but I'll tell you this spicy news. He's looking to do, is it AER, the Endurance Race Series? ARE, whatever the Endurance Race Series that starts with A. Yeah. They have a pit race. He's looking to pick up a seat in a car that is also a K-swapped Integra.
I know the car. I think I know that. I think I've worked on that car.
So he's looking.
Okay, so I would throw him in as
he's looking for seat time.
Yeah, I'll throw him in for my 3rd, and then I'll give you 6. I'll give you 3 from Northeast and 3 from Mid-Atlantic.
All right.
Northeast-wise, I mean, if Ronnie was going to go, I would definitely put him up there. I'm not sure if he is or not, because like I said, he's doing GLTC stuff this year. Leland for sure. Yeah, definitely. And I'm pretty sure they're planning on going. Dylan, I have to vote for Dylan all the time, but he's taking a really serious shot at this champs and this season. So if he wasn't at least spoke to him, 5, I would feel really bad. But I think he's going to do. I think he's going to do really well. I think he's going to surprise a lot of people this year.
I hope so.
Yeah. And
he is taking it seriously. All his vlogs about getting the car ready and all the stuff, and then
I talked to him behind the scenes, and I know what's going on. It's pretty serious. So
yeah, he's spent a lot of time in the gym too. Like he's taking the whole program seriously this year.
He's not messing around at all.
Nope.
And then I'm trying to think who else. I mean, there's a few other people Anthony's pretty quick. I don't know if he's planning on going. Stu blew up the last time he went, so I don't know if he even got any good laps.
Ken's in a K24 car, right?
Ken is K24. Ken could definitely do some damage if he goes. I'm trying to think who else. That would probably be it. I'm probably forgetting people because I haven't seen anybody's face in 3 months.
Yeah. Off seasons.
Yeah.
The 2 regions that suffer from off seasons are us. I guess Ohio does off season too, but
yeah. Definitely going to be interesting though, and interested to see how it pans out. See if the broom comes out.
And I don't know. Could be a Northeast broom. You never know. You better make sure you got one in your trailer.
Should I put my car back to H2 so I can go get my 3rd championship?
Oh, see, I was going to ask you about what do you think H1's going to be like? Because H2 is going to be a huge field. We know that. Well, a larger field than normal.
Yeah.
I don't even want to say normal because I think Mid-O was pretty big. But we have the spec S2000s out of the Southeast.
I hope they come.
I hope they do too, because
So if everyone
the other
shows
thing I
up
want
in
to
each
see
one
is
that I think is going to happen, my car will be the only
Yeah.
front-wheel drive one and the only Golden Era car, unless Bradfield comes. But I'll still be the only Golden Era car.
I love Bradfield, but he is so meticulous with his car build that I'm not sure he's going to make it. He might. I don't know, but I don't know if he's going to make it with enough races to qualify.
I mean, he could always qualify in his Type R just to get his races in.
I believe that is officially retired, but he may do it just to get the races in to then come play H1.
Right.
That car is going to be interesting. I can't wait to see how it fares. Everybody. Justin complains about the weight. But we're reverting back to the rules podcast. Everybody has to be, when you're paving a way, you have to be upfront with all your data. You need to share it. You need to build it to the maximum of the rules before you start putting in rules requests. Yeah, you can't go, oh, I need less weight because I didn't build my motor and my motor only makes 280 horsepower or whatever. You have to do it all, and then you have to be very open about it, which most racers aren't.
Mm-hmm.
Most racers in my region don't even use Instagram. So, and then they don't use Instagram. And then Marcel jumps me on Instagram about running 255s up front on a Sunday race. And he was like, that's not legal. And they were like, see, I told you, that's why we don't put anything on Instagram. We don't do any social media because they'll just come down on you. So, but to be honest, if you're going to run a car and you're going to want change, like, you're just going to have to be open. You don't have to be as open as Instagram, but if you want a rules change, you got to show it all.
Yeah.
And you have to prove it all. So,
yeah, H1
that car will be interesting.
H1's still struggling, but that was one of the reasons why I went to, just to fix it, because people were complaining about things. And I'm like, oh, let me go. Try something new and see how bad it is. And the first read over of the rules as someone building the car, I'm like, well, this is wrong. This is wrong. This doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
We need to fix all these things.
And that's a struggle, because when you're fixing the rules, you don't have the same mindset as when you're building the car.
Yeah, I mean, I fixed things
everybody has to
me while I was building the car.
Maybe.
Probably.
Hopefully not.
It's fine. It works good now, but getting back to H1, I mean, we have four pretty regular, even though it doesn't look like it on paper, H1 cars up here. They kind of run in different classes just to get some tires. But everyone wants to run H1 this year. And it's actually an even split of two S2000s and two Civics. So if the Southeast S2000s come up, we could have a really solid H1 field.
Yeah, I think they were on Jaime's podcast, a couple of them over the last month or so, talking about they're trying to figure out logistics. They're not all close. So
yeah, do
they rent something big enough to haul them all and then go pick everybody up, and then somebody goes through and picks up everybody's spares off of a thing? They're if they come, they're coming for bear. They will. They will be bringing the heat. So
they better be ready.
Oh yeah,
I mean, I don't want to talk a whole bunch of smack about these people that I've never met, but just basing off the lap times that I've seen, they better come really prepared at pit race. Because
okay,
yeah, I know what spicy. I'm going to run, and they might struggle a little bit. But
that's a little spicy, but
still glad to have them. I want to go down there and run with them this year. The budget.
Oh, that would be great to see.
Yeah.
Yeah, budgets. Oof. That's my most listened to podcast by like 30% is the budgets.
It was a good
I
one.
think somebody listened to it like 10 times. Yeah, Dylan and I had a good time doing that one. But I think as far as H1 goes, the trick is going to be everyone just arriving and doing it.
Yes.
Because it's been so lowly populated, nobody knows the measures between your car, the S2000s necessarily. You have S2000s in your region, but nobody knows. They've never all come together like this, or they haven't in a long time.
Correct.
When's the last time we had a legitimate H1 field? It's been a long time.
VIR.
Yes. Yeah, VIR was the last time.
Yeah.
This will be.
No, I'm sorry. I think they did. It had a decent showing at Mid Ohio.
Yeah, but did they all finish? I can't remember.
Oh no,
They showed a lot of H2. I watched the replay. They showed a lot of H2 and a lot of Kreider outrunning everybody and passing H2 cars.
Yeah. Well, the S2000
so was
H1 that year is from my region, and it's gotten a little bit quicker since then. So.
All right. Well, you have your work cut out for you. Everybody has their work cut out for them. And that's what makes this such a great event. I also believe some people have said there may be a problem because we may have a reduced car count again, like Laguna.
Why is that?
So it would be one of those. They say there's not enough room for a national level event at Pitt.
Pit race paddock is huge.
Yeah, they say, but the power requirements, it's huge, but you better bring your own generator.
Oh, yeah.
You better bring.
Yeah, but that's like any other weekend, no? I always bring my generators.
I mean, I guess. There were rumors of like shower facilities lacking, stuff like that. So.
Oh, okay.
Maybe with the pampering.
Like the behind the scenes kind of stuff. Okay.
Yeah. The row of 50 Porta-Johns, that's going to be cute. But
yeah. Let's not park there.
No. Let the old Corvette guys park over there. They're the ones that need to go to the bathroom all the time.
Respect 3.
So. Well, yeah, but then somebody might use the Spec 3 as a toilet. So, I kid. I swear. I know they listen. I'm sorry. I had to. Well, Jackie, it's been a blast. You're more than welcome anytime you want to come on. We're an hour and a half into this podcast. Is there anything else you want to share with folks on suspension? We should redo your Instagram and stuff in case they made it this far so they can get your coaching because we're going to need it. All of us are going to need it. Yeah.
Yeah, suspension wise, do whatever you can, which that's in your budget. A very smart person told me that, and it has worked well for me. Yeah, I mean, coaching wise, or however you guys want to get in touch with me, Instagram, LO_BUK_motorsports. Email, lowbuck516 at Gmail, maybe. Just hit me on Instagram, it's easier. Yeah, and the coaching schedule is pretty open.
For now.
For now. I know there's a NASA, like Great Lakes, or it's a crossover event at Pitt that people were asking me about because it's finally up on the schedule. But I don't have any, no one's officially signed up yet. So, but if people want to go, even if I don't drive, I can go out there and we can figure something out.
That's a big one for everyone listening. The Great Lakes crossover. Is it a triple crossover with like Northeast and Mid-Atlantic?
I don't
know.
think so.
it's on our schedule as a points race. So you may get a lot of Mid-Atlantic guys there. But if you need seat time at pit, which I do, you want to go to that one. I may not go to that one because I don't want you guys to see my terrible lap times, but I'll do it at a club race somewhere, or not a club. I'll do it like a lapping day somewhere.
Yeah.
With a bunch of rich people and Porsches.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's going to get booked. So
right, and to find something that works in that time frame. The last time I looked was a little tough.
Oh yeah, I'm doing midweek stuff. It looks like, from what I could find, which was very rare. So already, so all right. Well, thanks for coming on. I really appreciate this chat, and we'll chat again soon, I'm sure.
Yeah, I don't doubt it. I'll be back.
Until next time, keep working on yourself, keep working on the car, and let's get faster.